Come on. Come on, ZZZ. Come on, ZZZ. Okay. Refresh. Yo! Let's go! We did it! We landed. Orphie is here!
Soldier Orphie reporting for duty.
Okay.
If I mess up on the battlefield,
Wow, what a cutie! Welcome in, ZZ Proxies, it's your boy Josh, and today we are going to be going through the Zenless Zone Zero 2.2 drip marking, as well as reviewing ZZZ 2.1 banners to tell you guys if you guys should be saving your pulls for 2.2 or should you pull now for the valuable characters showing up with Spook Shack. Now, folks, it is no question that I believe and that we all believe Orphie is going to be one of the prime picks for ZZZ 2.2. But I want to save the best for not last, but just a little bit later. Let's firstly review our very first teased 2.2 character, and that is Seed. And here she is in all of her glory, the toes and everything. Seed is coming to us. Seed is coming with Obel Squad on her little Segway, just like Paul Blart Mall Cop. Seed is coming to us as an abysmal electric attack. Now hold the booze. I know a lot of us are really disappointed in the character archetype. Of course, there are things that are being said and thrown around the internet, Twitter, Reddit, whatever, about her design, about potentially how she's going to work with Seed Senior, I believe. Seed Senior is the mech and she's Seed. So their dynamic and how it's actually going to be realized in the game is going to be the key factor in deciding whether people actually want to pull for Seed or they want to forego her and then just go for, of course, Orphie and Magus. As so far as what Seed is bringing to the table, we do have Seed Senior, who is potentially going to be taking up in the majority of the on-field time in terms of combat. So seeing a huge mech waltzing around, potentially shooting fire, not fire, it's just as electric character, shooting lasers and missiles and whatnot. And me personally, what I was a little bit sad about is that not being able to see another premium defense character. Now, whether it was going to be a physical defense or whether it was going to be electric defense, which actually was my personal prediction before the trade marketing happened, I thought C was going to be electric defense, and it was going to be great. He was going to bring out a shield or something. It was going to be cool. I don't know what he was going to do with the shield. Who knows? Or he could have pivoted into a situation where actually you take a look at Ben and he scales defense into attack. So too could we have seen C do a similar thing where he also can defend, but also can attack heavy. That's what I thought we were going to see, the next step in the evolution of the defensive class. However, now we're stuck with electric attack. And as you guys might have noticed, we have a lot of electric attackers. This is not good for Seed, as she's coming in already covering a niche that has been covered 3 times over. It just does not make any sense. But with Seed being an electric attack and with Orphie being a fire attack, I think the Obel Squad here in 2.2 is going to redefine the genre and what it means to be an attack unit. Now, Josh, what do you mean by that? What does it mean to redefine the genre? As we know more classically, attack units has been more conventional in terms of their on-field offensive presence, whether they're just hacking and slashing, whether they're doing big crit damages, whether they're just doing, just pure damage or whatever they do. They're just basically pure damage dealers in their own right, and they don't really offer anything else except for the fact that they are primary conduit by which your supportive cast is able to dish out damage. So when it comes to Seed and then when it comes to Orphie and Magus, I think we could potentially see some different shenanigans. I think we could even see some defensive aspects baked into an electric attack character, or we could even see some supportive aspects built into an attacker character. Who knows? Potentially some extra aftershocks, potentially, maybe like an off-field little robot that helps you like zap lasers on the field. Maybe we actually do bring out a shield, and then, you know, let's say we have Seed, you know, come in automatically to assist you, or you can maybe even tag assist, which is a mechanic that they've been working on within Lost Void. There's so many ideas that you can actually spin and utilize that are already baked into the game to, again, redefine what it means to be an attacker character. And I think Seed and Orphie Magus are going to be the two to actually do it, just because the attacker class has been quite, for the lesser term, quite underwhelming. Of course, the latest attack character, that being Hugo Vlad, he's actually quite strong, and for most people, he sits in tier 1 or tier 0.5. He's not the cream of the crop, but if you guys have premium teams for him, and even at the budget level, he can perform extremely, extremely well. But that's just performance, right? When it comes to other aspects that you can bring to the table, that's not just pure damage or pure numbers, I think we have so much wiggle room for the attacker class. When you take a look at Rupture, when you take a look at a character like Yixuan, you see Yixuan being able to dodge and being able to parry so many different attacks. She is Auric Ink, which, and again, that's a little bit of an aside. Majoritively, what you want to focus on is that she is Rupture, and Rupture not really interacting with penetration and just having 100% defense pen is really, really sick. And of course, it might break the balance of the attacker class, and it pretty much does. To the point where we now have to relook at what the attacker class really brings over, let's say, potential other Rupture units down the road. And it seems like from this POV, we do have a first-person POV, potentially with a special different kind of attack, kind of like how Alice does a polarized assault attack where she does a charge attack and it basically does a pseudo ult essentially. I think would be really, really cool to just give a little bit more flavor as to what it, you know, what she could do, what Seed can do. Now, to wrap up the conversation with Seed, because you guys don't really want to keep talking about Seed, do I think she's going to be a valuable pull for you guys, as this is a banner review? Personally, if you guys already have Harmasa, if you guys already have SAnby, I think she's going to be extremely, extremely redundant. I don't believe you're going to be putting a team together with SAnby, with Seed, and with Orphie. You know, hey, come back to this video. Tell me in the comments I was wrong, because I would love to be wrong and see triple attack. It would be hilarious, and it would be very, very interesting in terms of the precedent that it sets in with just the dichotomy and the structure of team building. But for now, in terms of grade of 1 to 10, I'm gonna give Seed a measly 5 out of 10. I think because of her archetype, it puts her down so much, and assuming that the potential, or excuse me, the pull potential is more weighed towards the latter half, which we'll talk about very soon, I think Seed is caught in a rock and a hard place of just being in between some really, really good units, which we'll talk about, of the 2.1 units, and of course 2.0 we had Yixuan, and just between another fan favorite unit. Now let's get to Orphie Magus. Orphie Magus. Holy cow, she is thickums. I'm not gonna lie, they made her thickums, bro. Jesus, this art goes crazy. Anyways, shoutouts to Orphie and Magus, or aka Orpheus. Orpheus is coming to us as a fire attacker, and it's not necessarily we've been looking for another premium fire attacker just because Evelyn is just so strong and prevalent. But aside from Evelyn, we don't have another on-field premium fire attack or fire offensive unit. And again, I understand that Soldier 11 exists. Again, we've been looking at Evelyn, and ever since kind of the midway section of 1.4 and onward, there's only been one fire offensive character, which is going to be really, really good for those who have been really scraping the barrel for a fire type character to be able to cover certain Shield defenses, certain DA bosses, potentially even tower resistances and tower weaknesses. I think Orphie is going to fit that mold very well. Now with Orphie and Magus, you can see that Orphie and Magus are a pair. These are clearly two characters, very much how Seed and Zero are two characters. Potentially, do I think both of them could have some aspects of off-field application and or off-field support? 100%. I really would love to see these characters implement Aftershock even that much more, right? We saw with SAnby, you know, you do your 3 dashes, oh, you do a little peep, of Aftershock. That is, no. We want more Aftershock. And leaning into the Obo squad, who are just, again, with SAnby and Trigger, notorious for introducing Aftershock, I think it is prime time for Orphie and Magus, and potentially even Seed Senior, to really bring Aftershock to the forefront, meaning that we are going to get extra bonuses and higher level content for Aftershock. We are going to get bonuses for Fire and Electric. And potentially, depending on how her kit rolls out, we could be getting benefits on her, or how in the way in which she applies either damage or elemental application, anomaly, etc, etc. Just off of design alone, let's firstly talk about design. Aside from Seed's design, which I understand is a little bit more controversial, Orphie's is so stinking cute, and I think a lot of people actually start to grow on the in-game model a lot more. I think after seeing the in-game model, they're like, oh, she's really cute, but damn, she's really cute, you know what I mean? From the initial teaser, we saw her just, aura farming. She was standing there all smug face, and now she's just like, oh, my little clumsy klutz. And then we see Magus as the dominant personality, juxtaposing her extreme shyness. But when it comes to Orphie and Magus in terms of their character archetype, I think the fire attack class still needs a lot more love, or just the fire offensive class in particular. And if she has on-field capabilities, maybe even on-field and off-field capabilities, that's going to help her pull value even that much more. For me personally, and again, not to spoil any kits or any spoilers, is probably a pull value of 8.5, if not 9. She is going to be a really, really valuable character for a lot of people who were unfortunately not able to pick up a character like Evelyn. Let's say you have a lighter. Let's say you even have a Juvufu. I think those characters, even just those two, not even counting Trigger, would really benefit in Orphie and Magus. Now to talk about the rerun banners of 2.2. And there's realistically only 3 options here. We have SAnby, of course, as with Obo Squad, it would be very, very easy to pair SAnby with some of these units. And then we have Trigger, of course, which, oh my goodness, if Trigger comes along, you guys need to get, we'll talk about Trigger in a little bit. And then the last unit that has to rerun, Hoyoverse. Yeah, that's right. Even though he was a special gifted unit in 1.4, that doesn't mean he isn't a limited unit. He is a limited unit. There was just a special event that made him as a gift character. But by all aspects and metrics, he is a limited character. So we could very well see, again, this patch is seeming to be an electric and fire dominated patch. So we're going to see a lot of electric weak characters, a lot of fire weak characters. So a lot of mechs in the DA, a lot of Pompeys in the DA. We could see just a full swarming of reruns of electric and fire characters. Now, what makes sense to me personally, I think Hoyoverse might be moved into 2.3 just because he just fits in wherever. SAnby and Trigger would make the most sense being paired with Seed Senior, Seed, Orphie, and Magus. So out of those 4, where is SAnby's pull value? SAnby's pull value against Seed is going to be very, very dependent on how much Seed can actually increase the gap when it comes to playability, ease of access. Now, I'm not a guy who just solely relies on results-based analysis. However, when it comes to Seed, I can't dismiss that the matter of fact of how much Seed can actually gap SAnby will determine the value of Seed, as well as the matter of fact of if Seed actually potentially does bring in other aspects or more than just pure damage, we could really see Seed jump up in value more so than we're actually undervaluing her right now. But if you guys haven't picked up SAnby, unfortunately, I'm gonna have to actually favor Seed in this aspect for now. So I'd even say SAnby's pull value is at a 4 or a 3. That is really, really low, but it is to be expected as she has been one of the characters that has been really pulled back from as far as when we started to gap with Hugo, even with Evelyn. Evelyn was already stronger than SAnby, and SAnby wasn't that sort of linear progression when it came to the meta. She kind of did a little dip and step down, which is not to her fault, but is just a matter of fact. So when it comes to SAnby's pull value, it's around a 4 or a 3. And then we get to one of my favorite characters, Trigger. Now, Trigger is going to be one of the best characters to pick up. I told you guys when it came to pull value, Trigger is one of my top 5 characters. She's not only a great stunner, but she's a great electric off-field applier when it comes to her Aftershock. And if you already have trigger, let's say, oh, maybe I want to go for weapon. Maybe I want to go for M1. I highly suggest in this day and age to go get M1. That M1 is going to help you out extremely in terms of off-field applications, and maybe even if you don't sport the signature, which I already have, so it just makes sense I'm going for M1 next. Even if you're missing that impact, you're still dealing a lot of electric application to be able to pile on top of either, let's say, a mono electric team, let's say Yanagi trigger X, or you can run it with a Miyabi hyper carry, Miyabi trigger Jshoea. Trigger is just so stinking valuable and one of, if not the best off-field appliers in the game right now. And potentially if Seed or Orphie Magus come to challenge that, that might change the pull value on trigger. But when it comes to trigger's pull value, it is a very, very high 8 to 8.5. Very strong for trigger. She is definitely up there, again, for me, top 5 valued characters. So it just makes sense that I value her right next to Orphie. But I do understand that Orphie is more of a fan favorite. A lot more people are going to want to go for her over trigger. So Orphie just edges out in the fan favorite category. Then gamers, we can't forget about 2.1. The question is, should you save for 2.2 or should you be okay with pulling in 2.1? Now, firstly, the banners of phase 1, and that's Miyabi and Yuzuha. I'll be honest, these characters are actually some of the best in the business. I'm not gonna lie, I can't sugarcoat it. And potentially if Seed and Orpheus come along to create a new ceiling, right now Miyabi is the ceiling. If you guys want to go for the best character in the game, you gotta have to go for Miyabi, and we do have about just shy of 10 days, so make sure that you guys are going for Miyabi. Please go grab yourself a Miyabi. Make things easy for yourself. And again, it's not necessarily that you need Miyabi, but she is the best character in the game. And paired with her signature, which if you guys are relatively new, you guys should be able to grab some extra resources to be able to pull for her. The frost element, or the specific subclass of ice that she runs, allows her to run mono ice teams, that allows her to go hyper carry, and of course, as she is an anomaly character, it allows her to go more conventional mixed disorder comps. Miyabi is just the quintessential offensive character. Thankfully, they took their extra time to release her, even though she was teased in the closed beta of the game. They took their time to reevaluate her, redefine her, make sure she actually flows incredibly well playstyle wise, and then of course numerically wise, she just outpours so much damage. So Miyabi is going to be my 10 out of 10 pickup. You need to pick her up. You pick up her weapon, pick up the mindscapes, they're all going to be good for you. Next is Yuzuha. Now, I've already gave my opinions on Yuzuha as well. She is extremely fun. She is funny, she's quirky, she's smirky, she is absolutely adorable, and the swimsuit outfit is so freaking cute. But where is her pull value? Nami Yuzuha is our very first more dedicated Anomaly Support character. Of course, we do have Seth, but come on, guys, it's Seth, okay? The only person playing Seth is like EO these days. Come on now. Regardless, Ukinami Yuzuha is extremely valuable. She does have a parry, she has aftershock, which is so cool that she brings an aspect of a stunner and a defense class and brings it into a support, where it doesn't really meddle with what she does in performing it, providing so much anomaly buffs and of course just more generic attack buffs, you know, creates a unique feel of kit that feels very starkly different to play than some of the other support characters, which is what you really want. You want the feel to be different and unique, and of course you want her to be a strong performer. So when it comes to Ukinami Yuzuha being the premier anomaly support, where you can put her on almost any support team, even the mono ice team, because again, with her ability to be able to convert her off-field damage to whatever element that's on field, it just makes her the premier anomaly support. This is a 9.5 pull value out of 10, even without the signature. And you could go for the signature, but again, even running at budget, a lot of people use Weeping Cradle. A lot of people use Kaboom the Cannon. These are invaluable F2P options that Yuzuha can still make use of and reach around 90 percentile in performance. Then we must hit up Alice. Of course, Alice is going to be a character sliding into the scene phase 2 in about 10-ish days from the recording of this video. where does Alice sit? And now I'm actually going to come out with a pre-release demo video talking about Alice, where she sits in the meta, where she compares to Jane Doe as a physical anomaly. If you guys don't know, Alice is a physical anomaly, which we already have 2 physical anomalies. So I don't know. Alice is quite the step up. She is a 1.5 version of Jane Doe. She's a lot easier to use. She's more quote unquote fun to use. I think a lot of her kit is a lot more modern when it comes to, oh, we incentivize you to do this by doing this, right? With Jane Doe, you got the dodge attack or the dash attack, but Alice, that's pretty much all baked into her kit. And her W engine, which is right there, it seems to be a little bit more just of a stat stick. Can't get into the specific details there. Go catch my early access Alice full guide. I believe it should come out Thursday or Friday of next week. But when it comes to Alice, she's extremely free to play. Very, very easy to pick up. Very, very easy to play. Honestly, if you guys are just starting this game, Alice is a really top tier pick for an offensive on-field anomaly character that you should go grab. Where does Alice sit in terms of pull value? She is easy to play. She's easy to pick up. She's obviously very cute. If you guys want the skin, and you guys like the skin, of course, you know, that adds a slight increased inflationary value to it. When it comes to Alice, I think her pull value is around a 6.5 and a 7. Yes, Alice is going to be a strong driver in the anomaly seat when it comes to being an on-field character, being able to drive assaults, polarized assaults, disorders. However, if you guys already have a Jane Doe and you guys are doing really, really well with Jane Doe already, like you guys are clearing 20, 30, 40 Ks in DA, if you guys are clearing shield defense very nicely, then you don't need Alice. But it doesn't really break the game, or it doesn't really incentivize you to be like, oh, this is something I really need for my account to be able to benefit all accounts, or benefit the entire box that I have, right? With Yuzuha, she has the anomaly buffs. With Jshoea, she has the just generic attack buffs and assisting. Let's say Miyabi is a catch-all DPS character that can work with so many different comps. Whereas Alice, she's more relegated to her own niche. She's very strong in that niche, but that just lowers her ceiling a little bit. So a 7, I feel like, is at tops a great position for Alice. She's going to be a tier 1 or a tier 0.5 character when she comes out. And lastly, Tsukishiro Yanagi. I'll be honest, I feel like she's going to be quite the shafted character because we're taking a look at seeing a lot of electric characters in 2.2. We already have Seed, Senior. We potentially could get Trigger, SAnby. Yanagi is going to be put on the back burner unless you guys really like Yanagi. Now, Yanagi, again, being an electric anomaly character is, again, starkly different from just being a pure attacker character. What does that mean? That means that Yanagi is able to more cleanly drive a lot of electric reactions, and of course, she can polarity disorder, which is really, really strong, especially since not a lot of characters, or excuse me, a lot of enemies in this game resist disorder damage, with the exception of Miasma. When it comes to Yanagi's pull value, she's extremely free to play. You don't need Time Weaver at all for her to be effective, and that kind of goes for a lot of the anomaly class characters, with the exception of Miyabi. Yanagi sits at a strong 7.5 pull value, and not only is she going to be strong just within the anomaly class, why she gets a 7.5 tops is because she actually gets to work with other electric characters. We've seen mono electric comps do extremely well, and Yanagi being the driver for that as her on-field, it's going to be really, really good with Yanagi, Trigger, and X. So with Yanagi having multiple different ways in which to interact with certain characters and certain archetypes, and, you know, being able to be a hyper carry in a sense, and also a great disorder character, her value is pretty high. But again, we have to measure that against the strong candidates of 2.2. And with that, it comes to the end of the video of our 2.2 and 2.1 should you pull banner reviews. How did you think we do? Let us know down in the comments. Let us know who you guys are pulling. Make sure to like the video and subscribe to catch more Alice content as more of it comes out from early access. We'll chat more about Orphie and Seed in a little bit. Thanks so much for watching. It's your boy Josh. See you next time.